Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of The Division 2. Now, a couple of days ago, I was browsing Discord and got a DM asking about how to properly set up a hazard protection build. And the one he currently has is pretty weak and he wants to make it better. So today I want to share with y'all my personal favorite hazard protection build, or most notably, a bleed resistant build that basically has worked for me. A hazard protection build is by no means a myth, and you may have seen people use builds like all brand set, such as this, that tries to get close to bleed immunity as possible while achieving as much damage as it can. Or from crafting improvised pieces of glove, holster, and knee pads due to their nature of having a mod slot each, giving you ample opportunity to max out your hazard protection stat. Just be mindful that crafting them requires a lot of materials because their stat rolls are all randomized, making it extremely unlikely to get what you need. But from what I tested, full brand set build with even proclaimed 320% critical hit damage is only doing upwards of 500 to maybe 650k damage crit on the body all stacked up. And that is extremely low to me. I needed more. Because a build like this need to be able to walk on fire but also deal out enough burn to the enemy to hurt. Best of both worlds, so to speak. So I fall to everybody's favorite set, strikers. But before I go into the build, I wanted to mention that not every weapon is as effective with a hazard protection build. Not in the damage department anyways. In order to spec into hazard protection, you have to sacrifice something else, albeit crit chance, crit damage, etc. With that said, I want to bring your attention to the Backfire. For those who have suffered may decree the suffering of others. A sort of underrated, underused, and underappreciated weapon. But the only beast for this build. Because you are speccing into hazard protection, you are automatically resistant to bleed. So for that, the Backfire is the perfect choice. So the main focus of this build is to balance hazard protection and damage. 4-piece strikers offers stackable buff of multiplicative damage, 1 piece of y'all for the extra 10% hazard protection brand bonus, and of course, a Sokolov Concern chest piece for the 10% SMG damage to round it all up with a talent, Obliterate. Notice that you could use the Ninja Bike backpack and still achieve a 4-piece bonus of a 3-piece striker set and getting a bonus talent from the other brand set as well. However, I needed as much damage as I can get, so the striker backpack with risk management gives me just that by upping the damage bonus from 0.65% per stack to a rounded 1% for a total of 100% multiplicative damage. And finally, rerolling every secondary minor attribute to hazard protection. And besides that, you would also want some 10% bleed resistance mods for each of the mask, backpack, and chest beat mod slots. Don't worry if you cannot find 10%, you only need in total about 92 or 93% for total bleed immunity. For every other piece of gear, you can easily find it in the open world. But for Jarl, that comes from only the DZ. However, luckily you can also craft them from the bench, as long as you have some of Jarl materials available, which you probably already have from before. If not, then you can farm them in the DZ when it is Jarl gear targeted. It's very simple. Alternatively, you may use the name Jarl mask called the Hollow Man. And although it is also from DZ, it may actually drop from name caches that you acquire from various challenges and global event completions. You could even straight up buy them with countdown currency. Now, back to the weapon. Backfire has the talent Payment in Kind, which deals damage to enemies as a stack of 1% crit damage. Stacking lasts for 10 seconds, are capped to 200. On reload, applies a 10-second bleed to yourself, which deals 0.5% armor damage per stack. The more the stacks, the more damage the bleed, which means you might kill yourself at higher stacks. Happened to me. Hence the importance of bleed immunity. With a rate of fire of 850 RPM and a magazine of 56 rounds, you have no trouble stacking everything up. You'll be stacking the weapon for 200, achieving a grand total of 260% critical hit damage on top of a 50% critical hit chance, so you have no shortage of damage there. You'll also be stacking strikers to a maximum of 100 for a total of 100% multi-damage. Finally, you're also stacking the talent Obliterate while you crit up to 25 times. Hearing all that, wouldn't you like to say, hey, that's a lot of stacking going on? And you're right, it is. That's why I call this specific loadout the stack attack. From the gameplay, you can tell this is a very strong and effective build. Even though you're not 100% immune to every hazard, but you are kissing the border. Any hazard damage would feel like a tiny tickle, then fades to immunity after just a second. What is important here is the pure immunity to bleed, which makes the Backfire godlike in your hands. The weapon is of a MPX variant, one of my favorite by the way, which offers superior damage fall-off comparing to other SMGs in the game, meaning you can actually beam enemies at a longer distance. This weapon is effective from close to medium ranges, while most other SMGs are only effective at close range due to the faster damage fall-off and higher bloom, resulting in heavy loss of accuracy at longer ranges. At this point, you may be thinking, okay, well, it seems to do pretty well in solo heroic, but that does not speak much in terms of actual potential. I can do solo heroic with just purple gear, and you are so right, I agree with you. And what I consider effective must be effective in harder content, which means in a team of 4 with more NPC spawns that have much higher armor. So believe me when I tell you, this set is wonderfully performing in group content. In fact, you'll come on top in damage and trump most other players. 2 reasons. 1, because you're in a 4-man group, there are more spawns, which gives you more opportunity to stack up and keeping that stack. And number 2, the NPCs are tougher and beefier, which means more time to stack up with each encounter. So if you ask me, this set is more effective in groups than in solo. Hope that'll put your mind at ease. I wanted to keep this video short and sweet because the whole effectiveness of this build, you just gotta try to believe it. And if you do, I promise, it is one of the top builds you'll enjoy and definitely keep. Give it a try, and if you already had something similar, tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, if not, a thumbs down, so I can improve in the future. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode.